Hello and welcome to this overview. Fixed asset and stock reports. We've got 7 fixed asset reports, probably 8, although one has got to be in form of a hard copy document supporting figures we expect to find on the major fixed asset reports in terms of purchase documents, and then we'll look at stock reports below. Among the fixed asset reports, let's start with the detailed accounts. Now, of course, H8 should be manually available in form of hard copy. Now, H7 is other fixed assets, accounts 189 to 200. Let's use this other option, fixed asset reports. Scroll up. That's accounts 189 to 200. So these ones are detailed accounts showing every activity on those accounts, starting with opening balances and any purchases made during the year. Next to that, we'll look at equipment, machinery, and vehicles accounts. This is stretching from accounts 181 to 188. Opening balances, any machinery is bought, any machinery is disposed, equipment, vehicles, and furniture and equipment are found on this report. So detailed transactions and any further detail you go to refer to the source documents. Next to that, let's look at depreciation and disposal accounts. Let's look at the policies. Now we've got space here for typing the policies. What policy was pursued? What was the depreciation policy? Maybe 5%, whatever you type, and the blue color disappears. You type that information before it's printed and filed with the rest. That's report H4. Then we'll look at depreciation and disposal. So those policies are what we apply to actually the figures. The depreciation figures are computed on report H4. And then this H5 shows accounts 165 to 74, which are for depreciation and disposal accounts. So this one has got a depreciation written off of 1,500. You pinch and you see more information on the screen. And then after H5, we scroll down to H3. Now this is a fixed assets register. This one is a list of the assets owned by the business. Unfortunately, it's got to be done manually at the moment. So you type in the code of the asset, you type in the description, purchase date. When you click that, a form of calendar comes up and you just select the date. Document number, which can be traced basing on the financial year in which the asset was bought. And then you type the cost. Cumulative depreciation should be a minus figure. And then the net book value is computed. At the bottom here, we've got the sums, and that 54,111 should agree with what we have on report H1, as we're going to see shortly. And unfortunately, this category, there is no record, but it operates in exactly the same way. You basically enter information here manually, as M suggests. And remember, there is a guide there explaining something about the report and probably how to use the form. Click OK, and then we go back. Now we're going to equipment, machinery, and vehicles summary. Overview of equipment, machinery, and vehicles in terms of value. Now this summary shows values whereas the fixed asset summary, which is H3, shows the items by name. If it's a vehicle, we can know the name. It's a Mazda, it's a BMW, it's a Mercedes. So in the first column, we've got machinery, we've got equipment, we've got vehicles, we've got furniture and fittings, and then totals. The upper section is for the costs, balance brought forward, any assets in that category bought, any disposal sold, and the closing balance in terms of cost. Then below here, we've got the depreciation. Opening balance, depreciation. We've got charge for the year, and then we've got depreciation written off for assets disposed of, and then the closing balance in terms of depreciation. And then finally below here, we've got the net book value. Now the opening net book value is basically a sum of the cost brought forward and depreciation brought forward. The two are summed together. In fact, 36 plus 1800, we're left with 1800. And then below here, this is the closing balance, whose values really we find on the balance sheet on report B1. Now the closing balance says we use the cost closing balance 3725 plus minus 2050 gives us 1675 as the closing balance in the category of equipment, and that is found on the balance sheet. And then below that, we find the depreciation policy. For example, we could say it's 25% straight line. Okay, it guides the user of the records, and we are saying that information, this depreciation policy, can be confirmed on reports H4. That's where we can confirm details about that policy. Otherwise, these figures here, you can find more details on reports H5, cross-referencing, and then of course we got the totals column. Now that 6559 should be on the balance sheet as well, the closing net book value. It should be on the balance sheet. So let's go back to our final report in this category, which is other fixed asset summary. Now here we've got a goodwill, we've got property investments cost, property improvements, we've got premises, and then we've got another 3 blank accounts which can be customized for fixed assets, not fixed asset categories not catered for. You can customize that via the chart of accounts. So like the previous report, we've got the cost section up there. Below we've got the depreciation section, and then below that is the net book value, and of course at the bottom we record the depreciation policy, and we are saying details about that depreciation policy are found on report H4. And these 25,000 should be found on the balance sheet. It should agree with the figure on the balance sheet. And of course, there's some explanation at the top here about this report. Read through to recap your knowledge and some further guidance. That brings us to the end of fixed asset reports, and now we'll look at stock reports. We basically have 2 of them. One of them, the first one, is stock taking records. Let's have a look at that. Now this is a blank sheet we have provided for you to type if you wish to type. Some people could do it on an Excel spreadsheet. Simply put the appropriate headings at the top. Put the appropriate headings at the top and file it with the rest of the reports as report J2. If you decide to type here, after typing, click print and it comes out. So that is report J2, and then we look at report J1 among stock reports. stock accounts. Now basically we expect to have only 3 accounts, 201 to 203, and it's detailed transactions on each of these accounts, and this is report J1. Something I forgot to mention among the fixed assets, let's see, there's a link here to detailed accounts. So you click that one and it takes you to the detailed accounts. And with that, we get to the end of these 2 classifications of reports, and that is the fixed asset reports and the stock reports. Thank you.